the success of the Whitecaps is contagious, in the sense that there's people who've never gone to a soccer game before, never watched a soccer game, Whitecap soccer game on television, that are doing that now. They're buying tickets. They've heard about the wonderful atmosphere of BC Place. You can't, if you've got a winning team, you're going to get more fans out. We've had, terrific crowds. We filled the stadium a few times.
Hey guys, welcome in. It's our first podcast here today with my grandpa Keith here. And I just wanted to start off, can you give the listeners a quick rundown of how you got into the Vancouver Whitecaps originally, like how you learned to follow them?
Well, originally, I was watching them on television, and I realized, how easy it was to go to the games in person. Um, so, because I'm a fan of soccer, I was very interested. I was all the games on TV, and then um, I just decided going to the games would be a lot more fun than watching on television. So, I don't know how many years going back it was when I think about it. I know you've been coming to games with me. We've been going together. A few of our friends, and even our families, right? Your mom and brother, and my wife, and other grandkids from Powell River. And we've been doing this for an Abbotsford too. Grandkids there. So, it's been a family affair. I would say we're looking at least 10 years, 7 to 8, 10 years. We've been going to these games.
Yeah, for sure. You were a follower when they were at Swangard Stadium, right?
Well, a little. I remember. I don't remember going to a Whitecaps game at Swangard. I remember going to a Whitecaps game at the old PNE grounds, where there was a stadium. I think my first Whitecaps game, I went there with my neighbor Bert and Lucette. Maybe Peter was with us too, another neighbor. Before they moved to BC Place, that's the last time I remember. That's the only other place I remember seeing them play. Card Stadium, I've been to. I played there myself way back.
Yeah. Yeah, and
For the team.
personally,
Yeah.
I've followed the team for going on like 10 years now, I think.
Yeah.
I was introduced at a pretty young age, and I remember going to Whitecaps soccer camps back in the day and
Right.
going to some games with you when I was younger. So I've been a
Yeah.
follower for a long time, and we've been to quite a few games together. Um, but what really stood out to you from this season? I mean, it's been a long season. We're going on the final month here, but what has been like the overarching theme that you've seen this season?
Well, what I've seen is um, uh, an amazing group of players who have really stepped up, if that's the right word. Some of those players obviously have been playing for a few years for the Whitecaps now, but with the new coaching, the new coach, we have a change of philosophy, building confidence into the players, and some of the older players that seem to be not there before, and then the new acquisitions have they've just gelled. They've are so um, same mind and resilient, and even when they're behind the game, there's that confidence now that they can stay in the game and possibly win it in cases. So it's that never say die attitude which has, I think, to a wonderful season ever, right?
Yeah. It's been interesting because we had a complete change of philosophy and coach, as you say, at the start of the season,
Yeah,
and no one really knew what to expect with Sorensen coming in. We weren't sure what kind of
that's right.
manager he was going to be. He
Yeah,
wasn't in the MLS before,
yeah,
And
Yeah,
we were used to Sartini, who's kind of this erratic, bit on the crazier side, and
exactly.
his system was very different than how Sorensen's utilizing the team now. So we've seen so many changes this year, but I think, yeah, resilience has really stood out to me because our ability to fight back late in games and still get a
Exactly.
result when we're down is a huge
Mhm,
asset to have. And then
mhm.
you have big players stepping up in big moments, which is something we've lacked for a long time. I mean, even looking back a few years ago to like Lucas Cavallini, for example, he was our star player almost at that time. Like he was our DP, our big money signing, but you never
Yeah,
really saw those late game clutch moments from him. It was a completely different philosophy in the locker room.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
And then now you have players like Brian White, Ryan Gauld, Thomas Mueller, and they've all been stepping up in big moments. And
That's
then
right.
injuries for the season too. It's just been an
Well,
absolute uh,
yeah,
blunder of a season in terms of injuries.
yeah. We've been hit hard all throughout the year, pretty well, with injuries, serious injuries. Our back line was devastated. Was broken up a number of months back with Veselinovic getting hurt, and 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 then Blackman. It's been that resilience, that willingness to stay together and the coaching. How much work has it been for the coaches to strategically fill those gaps, especially on defensively. It's obviously the area where this is most paramount, but it's that resilience, that never say die attitude again that this has captured the imagination, I think, of people who are even sorry, people who are going to games because of success of the team.
Yeah. And I think we can turn our attention to the MLS Cup playoffs now. I wanted to do a preview today of our next matchup against San Diego, which at the time of recording will take place in a few hours here. So we're doing a last minute kind of showdown of what to expect here. But I just wanted to ask you about San Diego specifically. Obviously, we've had a tough playoff run up to this point. We played Dallas in the first round and beat them in two legs, which was great because it gave our team more rest and more players time to recover from injury. And then, of course, the LAFC matchup, which me and you were both at BC Place last weekend. It was a crazy game. Some are saying the best MLS playoff game they've ever witnessed. So we had our fun cut out for us that time. But yeah, just looking ahead to tonight, what do you expect from San Diego going into it? I mean, they've been a good team all season long, and it kind of feels like the battle of the top of the West here because we got the first and second seed going head to head tonight.
We do. Now, what's is going to be what will be so interesting is that these two teams, San Diego and Vancouver, basically play the same type of game. They play a possession game, and so we're in for a real showdown, a real battle. Um, and from that point of view, each team will obviously won't change their method of play. They're going to play the same way they played all year, and which is the possession game. So, um, you know, I you know I just think it's going to be head tete a tete, as they say in French, head facing each other and battling out. You know, so it's going to be another. We saw the game last week, and how can you possibly match that game? But this has all the um, ingredients with some both teams having some top players and yeah, there's going to be. an amazing battle on the field, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we've seen all season long, Vancouver's ability to go even to away stadiums in the United States and play well. And that's going to be crucial tonight because playing at Snapdragon, they get a good atmosphere there, they get a good turnout, and that's going to add a whole nother aspect to this game. But I mean, Vancouver's been good all season long on the road, and I expect them to continue doing well.
Yeah, I would, to add to what you're saying, they have been a very good road team all year. They've won 8 games on the road. They've had 4 losses and they've had 5 draws.
Hmm.
So, and they are unbeaten in their last 5 road games.
Yeah,
So that tells you they know how to play on the road, right? That they have the confidence to, knowing that the crowd is going to be, 99% behind the home team. That's not going to bother them.
no,
That's not going to interfere with the kind of game that they want to play. They've been doing it on the CONCACAF. They've been doing it in the CONCACAF tournament. They're doing it all year long. So that adds to their their confidence going into the game.
yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of people will frame this matchup as Thomas Muller versus Andres Dreyer, them being the two superstars of each team.
Right.
But to me, there's so much more to this draw than that. I mean, you just look at the lineups here, and you have Ahmed, you have Sabi, you have potentially Brian White starting up top. We have a lot of attacking options and a lot of depth at that position. I don't
Mm-hmm.
I don't see the exact same with San Diego, but
No.
it will be paramount to Vancouver Whitecaps' success to contain Andres Dreyer. And going down that right-hand side, I'm interested to see who's matched up against him because in the last game we had Laborda playing at left back, who
Right.
would have been matched up against Dreyer had that have been San Diego. But
Yeah.
going into this week, you have a lot of injuries to that back line, and I would think that Laborda is going to have to slot in at center back.
Mm-hmm. And probably bring in Johnson. That would be the most possibly logical person to bring into that left back position. Laborda slide over with Priso in the middle, and then we've got Ocampo on the other side. Uh, Johnson hasn't played for a few games, but they've been training all week, and probably and with that kind of formation, and he's shown his worth to the Whitecap. He's a young player, but he's got speed. Dreyer is, like you say, the biggest advantage that they have. One game they played against Minnesota last weekend, San Diego, one shot on goal, and it was Dreyer who shot and scored the goal.
Yeah.
So he is their most dangerous weapon. If that's the right term. To contain him will be key. We have speed on the wings ourselves, and we need probably to use that speed. We have a decent midfield. I think a very good, better than midfield. We've done well all year. Oh, and what's his name? Um, the Paraguayan Cubas.
Yeah.
So I think they've got to play well. They've got to play, as best as they can, contain too. San Diego. Um, yeah, I'm hopeful.
Yeah, it's interesting as well because San Diego have a few superstars like Chucky Lozano, Andres Dreyer, Tverskov in the midfield, and
Mm-hmm.
Lozano lately has been starting on the bench for them. I think there was some kind of disciplinary issues within the club, and he wasn't
Mm-hmm.
showing up to training, or I don't know the full story, but the
Yeah.
coach has taken some action to kind of bench him in the last few games, and it's actually worked out well for them bringing him on as a late sub. He had a goal in the first round of the playoffs in that manner. So I wonder tonight if that'll be the same approach from the coach. And also, they brought in Pellegrino recently,
Yes,
and he's been doing really well on the other wing. So there's
yes.
two dangers.
I agree. Pellegrino has the potential to be a problem for our team, and he's got speed, and also so yeah, he's been doing well the last few games for them. Yeah.
And something of note as well is MLS expansion team has never made it to the MLS Cup final. So if San Diego are successful tonight, this will be the first time in MLS history that expansion team in their first season in Major League Soccer has made it to the final. But
Mm-hmm.
I just wonder if San Diego have what it takes to contain a Whitecaps who are at this point pretty well experienced in knockout round playoff match games. I mean, we look
Mm.
back to earlier in the season and you have the Whitecaps making a deep CONCACAF Champions League run. And of course the infamous 5-0 loss to Cruz Azul in the final. That of course haunted our players for a few weeks, but I think since then we've been able to bounce back really well and finish the season really strong. And then of course you have the Canadian Premier League Canadian Championship that we won for the fourth year in a row. So that's a pretty big milestone for the club. And then, yeah, you have us coming up against LAFC, who is arguably the toughest opponent in the playoffs, other than Miami this season, and beating them and just showing a real display of grit and strength and determination, playing 9 men against 11. What did you see from that game that gives you hope that the Whitecaps are going to be a force to reckon with this week?
Well, what I saw was perseverance. Again, you think of the whole season. That one game probably is a microcosm of their whole season in the sense they had a super good first half, and then things started to slide a bit, and LA started to push, and we got a red card, we got an injury during the into extra time, and again the resilience, not giving up, uh, playing two players down for whatever it was, 15, 20 minutes in that extra period. But, you know, we got through that. And then again, having that chance to shoot penalties and doing so penalty shooting. If you think about the whole season, we had the highs and the lows, the injuries. We've had a couple of red cards, a few yellow cards here and there, but it's intense. One season in one game, and perseverance and grit and hard work. And I expect, I expect, that tonight. I expect it won't be an easy game, but I think we have the grit, we have perseverance, we have the skill, we have the skill level too here and get through this next game.
Yeah, and of course, looking ahead to this match, we have Jesper Sorensen and Mikey Varis going head to head. These coaches were both nominated for MLS Coach of the Year. They've shown all year that they can be adaptable, they can be versatile, and
Mm-hmm.
they're able to kind of switch things on a dime if they need to.
That's right.
So, do you see
Yeah.
do you see this being a tactical battle at the end of the day, or do you see it just being a full-on track meet? Take each other on and let's see what happens.
No, I think there'll be some strategy, a certain strategy from both sides in the game, depending on what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So there's definitely tactics involved. We know Sorensen is, because of his Danish background, also knows, is it two or three of the Dreyer, um, and one or two players, I don't know their names, that are played in Denmark.
Yeah.
So that's going to be an advantage, I think, to some extent. It could be an advantage. He's not going to tell us anything about that. Obviously, it's part of his thinking and what plans he might be working out for tonight. But um, um, you know, so uh, I think the it could be a coaching duel as much as a playing duel tonight. I really do. They're both adaptable. They're flexible. They've had a week to really think things over, right?
Yeah. And of course, we've followed this team for years now, and the Whitecaps have never had this kind of success. So
Right.
it's quite remarkable that San Diego were able to have this success in their first season. But
Mm-hmm.
as a Whitecaps team and as supporters, I just feel the whole city is behind us at this time. Like I've never felt such a collective sense of pride in our club. And I think the supporters are really backing us here. And for the
Mm-hmm.
first time, we have a Whitecaps viewing party at BC Place tonight. There'll be tens of thousands of fans there watching the game, and I'm here in Victoria, and I'll be watching it, hopefully with some other supporters as well. But can you really feel the atmosphere and the change in support in this last season?
Oh yes. Um, the success of the Whitecaps is contagious, in the sense that there's people who've never gone to a soccer game before, never watched a soccer game, Whitecap soccer game on television, that are doing that now. They're buying tickets. They've heard about the wonderful atmosphere at BC Place. You can't you if you've got a winning team, you're going to get more fans out, and it's been that kind of year. We've had terrific crowds. We filled the stadium a few times, and we've and so and when you compare what Whitecap has been doing the last few months since the season started to the Vancouver Whitecaps, the Canucks who are struggling. People identify with the winning team in any and this is definitely wonderful PR for the football and has brought out to the games, no question.
Yeah, absolutely. And just looking over to the other side of the bracket here, we have the Eastern Conference Final coming up. New York and Miami set to kick off at 3 p.m. Pacific time. What do you expect from this matchup? I mean, we've had a crazy Eastern Conference playoffs. We had Messi and Miami beat Cincinnati 4-0 in the Western Conference quarterfinal or semifinal, and then we had New York ending victorious over Philadelphia Union 1-0. So
Mm-hmm.
these are two very different teams, tactically, player wise, very different. What do you expect going into this game?
Well, if you look at what's happened over the last few weeks, I mean, New York City is the lowest seeded team still in the playoffs here, and Miami is always they've had a pretty successful season, um, uh, so uh, you know. Their budgets are very different, I'm sure, what they can afford to pay their players. We know that Miami is with this Messi's again. He's hit his stride with the last game. Scored a goal and had 3 assists. He's playing the game he wants to play. So he continues to play the game he wants to play. It'll be very difficult. There's other players on the team, but it's all through Messi. He's the engine of the team. There's very other on the team too that he played with in Barcelona before. New York City, well, they're a bit surprised. have won their last. Uh, they had 3 shutouts. Their last, I think, only one goal in their last few games. And Matt Freese, who's a super goalie, he's a U.S. national goalie. So he'd have to come up with a very good game, super game. And I was going to say New York have won 3 games on the road in the playoffs. So that's the credit. And that will help them tonight, possibly, in their game. But I would expect Miami to win the game. But, you know, game is 90 minutes of soccer, and anything can in a game. So it would be that if New York City win tonight. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Something that stands out with me about this New York team too over the course of the playoffs is I think they really embody that underdog mentality. Coming into the playoffs, they were a lower seed, they were fifth, and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they've just shown great resilience throughout. They do have some injuries to note. Alonso Martinez, their starting striker, is out through a hamstring injury. So that will be a huge miss to them. And part of the question going into this game is how are we going to find goals? But I think in the last few games, they've just managed and found a way to do it. I mean, you see Maxi Morales, the 38-year-old, stepping up in a huge moment for the club and scoring their only goal. And he's definitely that veteran presence in the locker room that gives them some confidence. And then you have Macau, who's now playing kind of that striker role, and he's
Mm-hmm.
been quite versatile. And their coach, underrated in my opinion, has done a great job of setting up this team and allowing them to play through injuries, much like Sorensen has done with the Whitecaps, where they've had injuries all season long, but he's played a very versatile system where anyone can kind of step in and find immediate success. So that'll
Mm-hmm.
be crucial to their game plan tonight. And like you said, Matt Freese is integral to that team, and if he doesn't have a big performance, I don't see them going through. And
Mm-hmm.
then to
No,
take a look at Messi in Miami real quick, I mean, you have Busquets and Jordi Alba who announced their retirement at the end of this season. So
that's right.
you can only imagine the fire under that team right now to win the MLS
That
Cup.
Yeah, that what you just mentioned is an additional adrenaline push mindset for those 2 players that are planning to retire. They would like to go out in glory, and so they have an additional motivation to, I would say, for this game tonight.
Yeah. And I think Messi feels a bit of pressure to put the team on his back and, carry them because he has the ability to do so. And
Yeah,
I mean, he's
exactly.
looked really good in these playoffs so far. So I think it's going to be hard for New York to pull out a result, but hey, I wouldn't put it past them. Um, and I just want to look ahead here to a potential MLS Cup final matchup. If we want to put in some last minute predictions here, uh, it's worth noting that if Vancouver were to defeat San Diego tonight, they would host the MLS Cup final only if New York beat Miami. So it's quite
Mm-hmm.
unlikely that the Whitecaps will host, but if that does happen, I can say that we will both be very excited to go to an MLS Cup final in our home city. But
Exactly.
what kind of results do you see playing out here tonight?
Well, I see. My concluding comments would be probably that we'll see, in the first game. And by the way, the results of the first game, of course, will be known by the San Diego and Vancouver before they kick off at 6. But I see Miami going through in the first game over New York City, and then I see the Vancouver Whitecaps. Um, uh, you know, winning the other final,
Yeah,
and so we'll have a final of Vancouver and Miami in Miami. That's my prediction.
yeah. So you think we're looking at a rematch of the CONCACAF Champions Cup semifinal?
they do.
A game in which Vancouver beat Miami in at Chase Stadium 3-1. So that would be interesting to see that rematch play out.
Yeah, and am I not right that it was a two-game total goal, two-game series, and that we won the first game here at BC Place 2-0,
Yeah,
which we went to, and then 3-1 down there. So if we do end up um, uh, playing Vancouver or playing Miami, if the Vancouver Whitecaps play Miami in the final, Miami will not be forgetting those games.
yeah.
Well, they'll be, yeah,
I think we're seeing a very different version of Messi at this point in time too, and it's going to be difficult for any team in the final to contain Messi, whether it be San Diego or Vancouver. It's going to be very difficult, and yeah, I see it being a huge challenge tactically to line up. But yeah, what the Whitecaps did do a good job of that earlier in the season, not allowing him to score or assist at all. So that was quite impressive. Um, but yeah, we got two big clashes coming tonight, and yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. This is the first episode of our Whitecaps podcast here, and we hope to record more and hopefully do a preview for the MLS Cup final. Any closing words there, Keith?
um, well, I just think it's an honor, it's a pleasure to do a podcast like this for our favorite game that we both have enjoyed so much in our lives, and of course we'll be with the Whitecaps all the way through, and continue our comments. Thank you.
Yeah, have a good one. All right, we did it.